Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today, we're going to take a close look at the legendary cards in Clash Royale, and we're going to assign them a ranking from worst to first. And even though we did a video like this almost 2 months ago, a little under 2 months ago now, so much has changed in the game. We have Magic Archer into the game. I'm curious to where you guys, or what you guys think about where I ranked Magic Archer. We also saw a bunch of buffs, a bunch of nerfs to legendary cards, so there's a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Before I give you my list, I want to quickly run you down from first to worst the win rates of the legendary cards in Arena 11 and 12 aggregated, and in tournaments and challenges aggregated, so you guys can get a picture of what the win percentages look like. Now, my list isn't just based off win percentages, it's also based off trending upward and downward, it's based off just archetype and meta trends overall, and of course the usage rates and the win rates, and maybe a little injection of my own opinion as well. Okay, so the ladder win rates. Number 1 is Log, trending up, by the way. Ewiz number 2, Inferno Dragon number 3, Miner 4, Mega Knight 5, Princess 6, Night Witch, Lumberjack, Bandit, Ice Wiz, Royal Ghost, Graveyard. Then the bottom 3 are Lava Hound, Sparky, and Magic Archer. Now, very interesting on ladder, but keep in mind, ladder is usually not the best gauge for these stats, and ladder's percentages are all clustered up. So the difference between Magic Archer, or maybe like, I don't know, Lava Hound and Inferno Dragon, 3 and 13 on the list, is only a matter of a couple percentage points. So don't read too much into those numbers. Just wanted to give you guys a feel. Now, the grand challenges and tournament numbers are much more accurate because obviously tournament level standard. So number 1, Royal Ghost. Number 2, Miner. Lava Hound, Princess, Magic Archer at 5. Bandit at 6, Log at 7, Night Witch, Ewiz, Ice Wiz, 8, 9, 10, Inferno Dragon, Graveyard, Lumberjack, and Mega Knight, Sparky. Okay, so let me give you my list, starting at 15, the worst legendary. But you know what? I think that every single legendary card right now has a use in certain decks, so none of these cards are useless, especially the trash can on wheels. That's right, Sparky stays, holding down our worst legendary card in the game, just inching out number 14. I think that Sparky is great. She's not useless. However, more rocket, more things to reset her. Zappy's finally on the rise. You know, it doesn't improve her situation at all, you know? So she's still lingering there at 15, just on the cusp, one little buff away from being a viable competitive card. Number 14 is Mega Knight. As you guys may have heard, Mega Knight's, you know, everybody says the nerf to Mega Knight was way overboard and it killed the card. However, the win and use rates would speak otherwise, especially on ladder still. So I think it's serviceable in some situations. It has more versatility and usefulness, in my opinion, than Sparky does, just by a hair. So 14 is Mega Knight. Now remember, Mega Knight was top 5, so he was definitely the biggest change, falling all the way to 14th. How about 13? 13 might surprise some of you guys. It's Graveyard. Why? Graveyard can be useful. I just shared a great Graveyard deck with Sir Tag, and a lot of you guys had success with it. But I think the success of Graveyard decks right now is extremely tied to Goblin Hut, which a lot would argue is still OP, and you're just trying to bait out the poison, bait out the poison, bait out the poison, so you can go ahead and use your Graveyard. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing for the card. I think, again, all these legendary cards are viable and useful in some decks, but I do think that the poison is still an issue for Graveyard right now. The fact that you can hard counter Graveyard and still gain 1 elixir with a spell is just tricky for me to rank Graveyard much higher. Maybe a couple spots higher. It could have went either way. However, it's going to be in the bottom 5 of our list, Graveyard. Number 12 is Night Witch. Night Witch is similar to Lumberjack in a lot of ways. She's on the cusp again of being a good card. However, she's only really serviceable and viable in the meta in 1 or 2 decks, golem decks basically, you know? So although you can use her, there's usually a better option in other archetypes. So Night Witch is going to be number 12. Number 11, this one pains me to say, guys, I'm sorry. Ice Wizard, cover your ears down there, man. It's Ice Wizard at number 11. Ice Wizard is a great defensive card. However, he just doesn't retain his value that he has on defense onto the counter push on the offensive end. So for that reason, he's really heavily relegated to graveyard decks or to siege decks, expo decks that need that strong defensive force, and then they can place down their win condition that's a little unorthodox, such as expo or graveyard. So for that reason, again, Ice Wizard is, man, they're all great cards. It's so tough to rank. These were the toughest rankings I've ever done, guys. All right, number 10 is Lumberjack. Lumberjack, another card that's received another unexpected buff. Supercell seems to be urging us to play Lumberjack. Give him a try, guys. He's a great card. However, we see more Executioner now in Balloon decks, where we used to see the Balloon Lumberjack in some areas here. It was never tier 1, but it was viable in a lot of ways. We don't really see that anymore. We see mostly Lumberjack Golem decks. Again, it seems to be relegated to just one archetype, so because of that, it's still number 10 on our list. However, definitely moving in the upward direction on our rankings. Speaking of moving up, we also have Bandit at number 9. Now, Bandit, I believe, was 12 or 13 on our last list, so she's moving up as well. Some might say she deserves to be even higher. She's definitely viable again. She's definitely a competitively viable card after her buff again. So she's great. However, not as good as the top 8 in my opinion. Now, this is going to be, when we get into the top 8 here, guys, in my opinion, this is where we see a tier upgrade, right? So all of these cards, in my opinion, are tier 1 inside the meta, meaning they're all great cards. So if, I can already tell, no matter what card I put next, I feel like I could be making an awful mistake on these rankings. So it's going to be Inferno Dragon. After his nerf, he was a top 5 card. He still easily, arguably, could be a top 5 card. His use and win rates after the extinction of that Mega Knight Zap deck that he was in every single one of those decks, Zap Bait, excuse me, his use rates went down, and so did his win rates. And it received a nerf, so I thought it was fair to put him at 8 on this list, even though it's definitely one of the best cards in the game at the same time. Number 7 is going to be Magic Archer. So I could have been a Rebel Rouser and put Magic Archer into the top 3 or 4 or even 5. However, I'm going to temper my expectations. I have heard from the community that a lot of people are very unhappy and underwhelmed by Magic Archer. I think that's partially because of extremely high expectations. People thought that Magic Archer was going to be the new Royal Ghost, was going to be the new Night Witch, just an incredibly OP legendary card. Some people complained about it, some people liked it. Either way, it definitely wasn't that. It was arguably a very well-balanced but strong card upon release. I don't think it needs any buff or nerf right now. However, anecdotally speaking, win rates are extremely high in tournaments and in challenges. In yesterday's 10K tournament that I host every day, streamed live on Facebook, we had 4 decks finish top 10 in a 1,000-man tournament. 4 decks finished top 10 with Magic Archer. Not only 4 decks, but 4 different archetypes, showing the versatility of the card. It's a really high skill cap card, meaning that it takes a lot of practice and a lot of skill to play at its full potential. However, it's a great card, I feel like, and we'll see a lot of competitive action in CCGS in 2018 and other competitive tournaments. So, number 6 is Ewiz. Ewiz has the 9th best win percentage, so I'm actually ranking him a little bit higher than that in tournaments and challenges. In ladder, he's still totally viable, so it leads me to believe that Ewiz is so viable on ladder, partially because he's just a better ladder card, but mostly because people actually have him leveled up where they don't have cards like Magic Archer, for example, leveled up enough yet. It takes more time for the true nature of the card's relevance and strength to show go on ladder rankings. But E-Wiz, no doubt about it, is still a top card in the game. Of course, its Zap effect, its Enter the Arena ability, really strong. E-Wiz, number 6, baby. Number 5 is going to be, maybe you forgot that I even included, or forgot about this card, because I'm used to putting Lava Hound in the bottom 5. She's made her way all the way up to the top 5. Coming in at number 5, it's the Lava Hound. Lava Hound went from, I don't know if it's a shift in the meta, I don't know if it's just that buff to the Lava Hound, but all of a sudden her win rates are spiking and continuing to trend upward, both on ladder and in challenges. I mentioned yesterday's tournament and the tournament before that, seeing a lot of Lava Loon. In fact, it took first place 2 days ago in the 10K tournament. I see a lot of players in brackets, pro brackets, using Lava Hound again. Of course, Botcham dominating ladder. That's nothing new with Lava Hound. Lava Hound and Lava Loon and Lava Hound minor decks are certainly viable again. Number 4 is Princess. She's back, baby. I think she was number 7 last ranking. So she sees a spike on this list here, and the reason being is because bait is back, man. Log bait is back. We have the Prince version of the log bait, we have Zappy's version of the log bait, now we have Valkyrie version of the log bait, so that's going to explain the bump in ranking for both Princess and log. Number 3, Royal Ghost, by far the number 1 win rate in tournaments and challenges out of all legendary cards. We're going to put him at number 3 here because that win rate does not carry over to ladder. However, at 3 elixir, as I predicted, Royal Ghost still retains his value despite that, you know, pretty decently sizable nerf to a balance updates ago. So number 3 is Royal Ghost. It's cheap, he's versatile, he's still a pain in the butt to deal with when he gets to your tower. He's a strong card. Number 2 is going to be Log. Log has moved again from middle of the list to the top of the list now that the nerf to the Mega Knight Zap Bait deck, and we're just seeing a lot less of that Zap Baits, the bats, the deck with the bats and the Spirit Goblins and all that Zap crap coming at you, right? That's definitely, it's not useful, it's not useless, excuse me, it's not dead. However, it's just not as strong as it used to be. Now we're seeing a more robust log bait meta, so there comes the log shooting up there to number 2. In number 1, for the 3rd straight ranking, is going to be Miner. At 3 elixir, he can punish pumps. He fits well in almost every single archetype. He is underrated in the opinion of yours truly, even though the stats definitely back me up on this one, in Miner being such an amazing card in the game. It's a unique ability. It has that proxy that it can touch anywhere on the map. It fits in so many different archetypes. He fits in Golem decks, in Giant decks. He fits in, obviously, Miner Control, Miner Poison, Miner 3 Musketeers. He is a really versatile card. I don't know, I started out with Golem. You don't see a lot of Golem decks with Miner, but you know, he fits in Beatdown, in Lava Hound decks, right? So he's everywhere in a really strong card. So guys, that's my rankings for today. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Where did I go wrong? And be sure that you think about, instead of just saying, Ash, you know, Ice Wiz should be higher, make sure you tell me all the other cards that he should be higher than, that you're going to bump down. Make sure you include that, because that's really important, because this is really difficult to rank, at least in the opinion of yours truly. So guys, huge shout out to all of you guys for making it to the end of the video. Huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.